Good morning, Sean. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. You were just saying what today's Inside the Huddle is going to be about. Can you?
Yeah, well, we like you said, we sorry for the interruption there for the 4th of July, but carrying on from what is it now, 2 weeks ago, we were talking about trying to establish the foundation of an effective CRM, and I was commenting a moment ago that to me, a CRM it's an action plan, not a warehouse. So it's not where we just put people and keep them in there so that at some point in the future we can find out where they are or remember a phone number or an address. It really is. It should be about an action plan.
And what's the goal? Why do we even have a CRM with action plans?
Well, I don't know how you can effectively manage a sales business without having the ability to effectively follow up. Sales are made in the follow-up stage. It is very rare that any one of us, and if we have had this situation, and I can say that I probably have had one where I did an open house when I was an agent, and I asked the question, are you folks would this house be an interest to you? Well, maybe. I was, and I remember being so new, okay, what do I do now? I mean, I haven't had that one before, right? We've all been there, but I'd say 99% of the time when we come across a prospect or someone we hope to be a prospect, the effectiveness of our ability to make sales will come as a result of the follow-up with that individual.
I agree 100%. So now in my mind, I need to divide things up a little bit. I'd like everything to be organized.
Yeah.
There's follow-up, and we have a number of already very good campaigns or action plans, we should call it really, in the CRM here at Compass. So that's, like you said, have an open house or a potential lead that you pick up talking to somebody. Then there's just the people that are in your SOI.
Right.
Friends and family, past clients, neighbors. And I see that a little differently. We're not following up on something specific.
No.
But we are staying in touch and maintaining top of mind for a very simple reason. That's where the majority of our business comes from.
That's right. So, yeah, that's right. You have clients in there. Your vendor clients, people that support your business, right? You have, we've all heard the terminology A, B, and C. A great CRM is just loaded with A's, right? People that you are highly engaged with, have a relationship with. One way I classify to help someone understand what an A, B, or a C is, an A person in your life is someone, when they hear of someone thinking about buying or selling real estate, they're evangelical about you, meaning that they cannot stop from interrupting a conversation to make sure that the person that they hear speaking about a transaction makes the point or makes the effort to reach out to you. And then you have the B's, and these are people who, given the choice, may or may not do business with you. You may have had a rough transaction with them, or they haven't made a decision yet. I mean, you could think of what a B is, right? But it's really someone, given the opportunity, might or might not do business with you. And then a C individual is someone who says, we've been thinking about it, or sometime in the future, we're not ready now. That to me is the C person, and your job in the C bucket is about cultivating to see, do they stay a C, or how do I move them to a B and to an A? So I hope that gives some context, but that's how I look at the database.
And I do it similarly with a little bit different definitions.
Okay.
And so I'll share that as well. For you guys, what we're doing here, these are tags. This is just another tag you made. When you're doing tags in the CRM, I always tell people, think of it from a marketing perspective. Sometimes I'm going to want to only talk to a past client. Sometimes I just want to talk to friends. There's different ways that we categorize people. Steve had the brilliant idea of if they have pets. That's a category, pet owner, because there's things you'll say to them that will ring true, that won't have the same impact with someone who doesn't have a pet. So I have the ABC, the A's, and I even divide the A's. An A plus is someone who's given me or referred to me 2 pieces of business. And the A is someone who has referred 1 piece of business. The B are all the people that should be sending me business and they're not. Like my friends. What the hell, man? What's going on? How come you haven't sent anybody my way?
Right.
And then a C are the people I don't really have that expectation of yet. I haven't earned that right yet. It might be new leads, new people, names that you know, but there's nothing there that you would say, how come you're not sending me business? And then, like you pointed out, that also gives you action focus. I want everybody moving up a level. Every time I'm interacting with a C, I'm trying to deepen that sense of rapport so that they can become a B. And the B's I'm talking to and trying to elevate them with my expertise to an A where they're actually sending me business. Plus, it's a time, sorry to keep going on, but it's a time management tool. When you're deciding to do a client appreciation event or any type of event, those A's that Steve and I are mentioning, they're going to get a lot of loving, right? They're going to get something in the mail and an email invite and a phone call and a text. They're going to know how much they mean to you. And your efforts are going that direction so that, God forbid, you run out of time. It's the C's that don't hear from you. The A's and the B's, they feel the love. So it's a time management system as well.
Right. And those A pluses that you described, which I appreciate, again, not to spin people's minds with different naming exercises, but those are your centers of influence. I mean, these are people that when you communicate with them, I try to impart with the agents that I've coached to make sure that they're not getting a generic type of contact, that it's not intellectually lazy. It's respecting the relationship that you've built with them. You would think of how you would write a letter to a loved one or to a parent or to a brother or to a sister, to a cousin. You're going to think of how any letter, what content that would have. The sense of wanting to connect and understand where are they, what's going on in their life right now, what's right. I mean that, and so if you're not looking at it at your database in a high-minded way, that could be causing you problems in your referral business because they're not getting the sense that you value them, you appreciate them, and their life is different because they're in it with you, right? I mean, and to me, so it's really understanding. Again, and what I was hoping we would get into today a little bit too is the cadence, and what those contacts could be, the opportunities to make, like how can you make a really meaningful contact with a center of influence, somewhat, or a C even, right? So maybe we could talk about that as well, so that the agents
right where I was going.
Okay, cool.
Although let's just to remind everybody the importance. Or the why, and which we did mostly 2 weeks ago. If you're working your CRM and doing it consistently, you're looking at a 6 to 8% conversion. Meaning for every 100 people in there, you should be getting 6 to 8 transactions a year. That starts adding up. If we're doing it well, it's 10%. We had Ramon on 2 weeks ago. He maintains 15%. So when you're done with the call today, I want you to go count how many people are in your SOI. Right. Don't include like a list of people that you bought. These are people you know. You might have 200-300 people in there. How many transactions is that we should be having if we're working this system correctly? The other thing that you led me to that I'm using a lot right now, Steve, the analogy when you talked about what are we sending them? The analogy I use is that we all live in the Amazon world now. The world of Amazon. Amazon knows what you want before you know what you want, and they sent it to you yesterday. That's the expectation that people have nowadays. Generic, what's called one-to-many, I'll write this one thing, I'll send it to 300 people. You have to be very sparing with those because we live in a world of people who are now used to being talked to personally, as if you know me and you're talking to only me.
Right.
So that's an important background to this cadence, how we communicate.
That's right, and the impact that, again, that type of communication has. When you see people sending out newsletters, and that really is the only form of communication. Maybe a birthday card, maybe a Father's Day card. No offense, but and I'm going to say not to do that. By the way, I think newsletters can be hugely impactful, and they are very important, but they're also intellectually lazy when it comes to building a relationship with people, particularly your A's. And the people you want to focus on is on your A's, because we know they've either done business with you or they'll refer business to you. And so, you start there. I mean, every action and every priority in your database should be, what have I done lately for my A's? and how am I going to move B's to, to A's, and how do I get C's to B's? I mean, that should be the whole existence, the bane of your existence in interacting with your CRM. We talked about a couple weeks back. I made the point that who I just spent Saturday with, Jeffrey Douglas. He and I went off-roading together. We brought our dogs on Saturday. We went out to the desert. Great time. Point of me mentioning that is his dog Kiki was there. He loves this dog. Now Jeff's a single guy with his dog, and that dog is like his life. I mean, he loves that dog. And we talked about on Father's Day, he made a comment on social media. Not even if he took a picture of Kiki, he said, not even a Father's Day card. Now, if he were your client and you had him in your database, you're looking at how can I make a difference, and how can I share with Jeffrey or any client how much I value and appreciate them. Imagine if you would have had in your CRM, right? And you talk about, I'm talking about major impact. You would have had a reminder to send him a Father's Day card from the dog, addressed from the dog to him. So this is what I'm talking about. This is what you do with an A+. You're not going to do it with the C's. You don't even know what they're working about.
Right.
So anyway, so let's get.
So there's a balance. I'm with you. This is personal. What we're trying to balance out is that personal contact, and at the same time, top of mind status, which requires numbers.
Yes.
Right. Once a month is, oh my gosh, I wish everybody was doing it once a month. Is that the plan that I recommend? Heck no, that's not nearly enough. But just doing even a newsletter, a generic newsletter once a month, and the 4 phone calls. We'll get to that in a second. But the point of all of this is the 4 live contacts per year. Once a quarter is a live contact.
Right.
So how do we give that balance? And Steve, I have a system that I put out and I can share with you guys. And my recommendation is take some or part or all. I mean, from what the things Steve and I are saying, put together yours.
Right.
So here's the one that I recommend. This is going heavy on the numbers, and so we want to make sure it doesn't come across as marketing. So we change the venue, we change the message, we change things. I would start with the newsletter. Compass has a nice newsletter. You can get away with that once a month, that generic one-to-many. That goes out on the 1st of the month. On the 15th of the month, they should always get a little personal email from you. And it's like the title of mine is You'll Never Believe. It's like you'll never believe what happened on the way to Rome today. It's just telling them a quick, funny story, 3 or 4 sentences. It could be about real estate. It could be about life. It could be an inspirational saying. It's just you communicating rather than obviously something written by a company somewhere. Those are the 2 emails they get. 6 times a year, send them a postcard. Pick neutral holidays, like St. Patrick's Day. You don't need the luck of the Irish to find a good deal. Call me. Make it corny.
Yeah.
The only thing we get are bills, right? It's nothing like getting a postcard. I think mine are like New Year's, Valentine's, St. Patrick's, 4th of July, Thanksgiving. Anyway, 6 postcards a year. The 6 months that you don't send a postcard in, you send them a text. And you just have a reminder in the action system that says, send out a text. Use a texting app. I assume most of you have a texting app on your phone, the Mass app. Like if you're a Droid, mine's a Droid, it's Mighty Text. There's one for Apple, I can't remember the name of it. It allows you to send out 250 texts at once, but every one of them looks personal. And if the person responds, it comes only to you. And just send a link to an article. Just a fun, nice article, something about San Diego, something about pets, whatever it is. Just finished this article and it made me think of you, hoping you're having a great day. That's the whole text. You send me a text that says, I was thinking of you when I read this and it's a fun little article. How does that make me feel? There's no mention of real estate. We're not pitching anything.
Right.
And then you add that to the 4 phone calls or lunches, or if that's an A+, right? We're taking them out to lunch. But the 4 live contacts a year. And without knowing it, you've already done 40 touches. That's 40 touches. That's top of mind status. And yet they're so varied and the message is so light that no one feels that they're being marketed to.
Right. Well, that's awesome, because when NAR does surveys as it relates to like referral business, why so few agents have an effective referral business. it's because the client that they've serviced and worked so hard to obtain, right, has forgotten of them because there's no contact after the sale. There's no after the sale follow-up plan. Now, I know that's some of you on this call might think that's absurd, but understand you have very little competition when 80% of the industry is approaching this more as a hobby, and the top 20% are intentional on purpose with this. That means 8 out of 10 people will forget, or they might, and you know what they say, they'll remember the brokerage, but not their agent. So they remember the company that sold them the home and not the agent. And and what you're talking about there does, these types of contacts with that cadence keeps you in front of them, front mind awareness. They can't, how do they forget you if you're reaching out and you're checking in? So it's, I just got to say one thing. I remember when I was selling real estate way back when I was a kid. Oh man, just making the phone call. Hey, how is everything going at the house? This would be like some 45, 60 days later, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had no cadence. I just had this inkling, this little voice to tell me, hey, you should follow up with Jonathan. See how things are going, and that's it. That's all I had. It was just some sense that I have a responsibility to do that, and how impactful that was, and how many times I heard, no agent has ever done that before. I've never had someone call me after the sale. That's
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. So, and I've heard that more than I heard, anything, else from them. Was they've never had somebody follow up with them after the sale. So it speaks to what we know statistically. Anyway,
Steve, Robert had an important question. When you were selling real estate, he was wondering if they had homes with electricity.
Yeah. Yes, Robert.
I'll tell you what we didn't have. We didn't have internet. We got the MLS delivered in booklets every 2 weeks.
Right. We didn't have cell phones when I started. We had pagers. You were cool. You had a pager on your hip.
Doctors and real estate agents.
Yeah.
So that's the 7 deadly words. The 7 worst words you can hear are, I forgot you were in real estate. Man, to lose deals because they forgot, which is completely on us.
Well, let's remember what the goal of what you just outlined, right? It's to take a relationship from cold to warm. That warm relationship is from some sort of a presentation where you're out presenting to that individual for whatever buyer, seller, right? It leads to a transaction. The transaction hopefully will lead to referral business. Or you can just run your business where everyone's just a member of the public. Everyone is suspect to you. Like who can I possibly get in business with? And you hope you turn the suspect into a prospect, and then hopefully the prospect turns into a client, or the client can then hopefully become an advocate. So it could be either one of those situations. But if you have the CRM managing your actions and you're tracking your actions, it's going to accelerate either bucket. To me, the whole thing though is to have advocates. Advocates are the key here. They're your wealth determiners. So,
I'm going to put some numbers behind this and some steps behind this. When you said most agents out there, they treat it like a hobby, according to NAR, and NAR does this massive study every year. You guys should be looking at that report. It comes out, I forget what month, but it has amazing information about what's going on. These are rough stats now. I haven't looked at it in a while, so please take it with a grain of salt. But it's something like 82% of all clients, when asked after the transaction if they would use that same agent again, say yes. In reality, it's something like 16% that do. That's not on them. That's on us.
That's right.
82% said I would. Basically implied if they would just stay in touch with me so I can remember who they are. But we don't. The key to this now, and you keep talking about, Steve, relationship-wise, the key is being authentically you. These are not sales pitches. I'm going to write this down, please. If you're somewhere, if you're not driving, write this down. People buy confidence. They refer expertise. They buy confidence. They refer expertise.
Man,
we talk a lot about getting referrals. You demonstrate expertise, and that's how you get referrals. That's in a transaction. But look at what most advertising is right now with real estate agents out there. Oh, look what I just did. Oh, I did it again. You should use me. That's got nothing to do with me as a consumer. It's all about you. I don't care about you. Tell me about me. Tell me why I'm special or how you're going to help me. What you need to instill in me is confidence. I've got to know you, like you, trust you. You guys have heard that term before. They don't buy your expertise. They'll refer it. But that's not what they're going to buy. They got to buy you and the feeling that you're going to give them of confidence that this transaction is going to happen. It's going to happen smoothly. My best interests are going to be looked out for. So when you're sending things out, it's got to be you showing them who you really are. And Steve, you know, I've said this about, 90% of the people, when I show them who I are, run away screaming. But that's okay, because you know what? I can't handle 10% of the business. It doesn't matter that 90% of the people don't. They won't run away screaming from you guys, but maybe they don't want to do business with you. That's okay. I just want the advocates, right? We want the apostles, the people who I'm with him. That guy, I'm going to do business with him. And I'm going to tell everybody else to do business with him. You don't need very many of those people.
No, you don't. In fact, old mentor of mine said if you had anywhere between 5 and 10, and they were referred to as wealth determiners in your life, your life will change forever. Literally change forever. So who you align yourself with in business, both from a company's perspective, from your client's perspective, there are clients, not all clients that you've done business with are equal, right? There are some that can give you a great deal in the relationship that goes beyond, and who they are, their connections, their knowledge. How many of you, because I'm not the sharpest tack in the barn, heck, 80% of my database of A's taught me more, could give me more in life than I could ever possibly give them. And the fact that I was genuinely curious in them galvanized the relationship. And I mean that sincerely. I would always look for something that made them special. And it would always fascinate me, to hear their story. One of the things you could do after the sale that will galvanize the relationship is, so that it doesn't sound sales talk, is to say, now that this is over, I can't, it's been great. I appreciate all the pleasantries, right? But tell me, if you had one, because how many agents working with clients in Rancho Santa Fe, one of the highest net worth communities in the world, there are people there that have a story to tell that would be interesting. It could give you a life lesson on how to be successful in life. If you just ask them, what is it that you could attribute your success to that's helped you achieve this after the sale? And let them just open up. And there's nothing that pulls people towards you than when you show care and concern and appreciation for who they are. That doesn't require an email, a text, a phone call. That's just something they're right in front of you. And if you just
requires that you actually care. It's one of my favorite changes is that, and we've mentioned the movie before, Glengarry Glen Ross, one of the greatest sales movies ever made. But there's a point at which, I agree, John, what's his name, is standing up front being a hard case, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
And he writes on the board, A, B, C, always be closing. And that's pretty hardcore. I don't agree with that at all, in fact.
No.
But if you changed it to always be curious, that's the ABCs of what we do.
Yes.
Always be curious about the person, about their home, about their family, whatever it is they're talking about. Be curious. Ask more questions. There's nothing that makes you feel more special than having someone else interested in you. We want to create that. So let's talk, Steve, before we run out of time, about the most important aspect of your CRM. You can set up the things I just talked about. If you want, I've got these already created. You can email me. I'll send you links to the ones that I use in our CRM. The single most important part of all this, though, is the phone call. If you're not doing the live contact once a quarter, we're going to miss out on a lot of the business. For so long, I've been describing that phone call, and then Ramon came on 2 weeks ago and just blew it away. Remember, we asked him, so what's your pitch? You have this huge conversion. What are you saying? What are you doing? What are you throwing at him? He said, I asked them how they are. I'm just trying to be a good human being. crap, it tattooed
Yeah.
on my forehead. Just be a good human being. There's no script. There's no, if you need something, we have that great Ford acronym for that's family, occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Right.
But whatever you're talking to them about, make some notes. You'll know next time what to bring up again. The key to this, though, this is the part that gets forgotten when people teach like Ford or, here's what to talk about. The key is that you're listening actively. You're listening for what we call pain points, right? They're going to talk about something that you're going to realize, just like Amazon, before they do, that they're probably going to need to buy or sell a property in the next year or so. Last kid is finishing high school. Retirement's coming up. I mean, those are obvious ones, but might be getting promoted. There's so many things that they say that it's something happening in their life. You need to make a note of it, not jump on it right then. Oh, you know what that means? Make a note and start upping your frequency of conversation, because there's a pain point coming that you're going to solve for them.
Right. One thing that's coming clear to me is I think we need another session, because what I want to give the folks on this call that have tuned in to an important topic is a program to follow. And there's just no way we're going to be able to get into that. So I hope that the group would be open to next week us rolling out a program so that you understand the importance of the type of cadence you have to have. We didn't do that today. We just, maybe this sets that foundation for the program. But I'd like to give them a program. So if they're going to go into the CRM, how they can set it up for these A, Bs, and Cs, and what types of, Father's Day, Mother's Day, the dog anniversary, that sort of stuff. How many contacts, what that looks like, the frequency of contacts you should be making on a daily basis. If your network contains 100 people, 300 people, 500 people, give them a formula. Let's give you guys a formula so that you have a program to follow that you can just extrapolate, put it on top of, bolt it on. I got 150 people. This is what my contacts, whether it's 20 or 30 or 15, let them put that together. Can we do that next week? Because I just want, okay. So that's what I want to do, is give them the program so that you're just
I'll have ready for next week. I have a 2-letter distribution that I love. It takes the 26 letters of the alphabet and pairs them up into 13 pairs, 13
Awesome.
weeks in a quarter. And it's somebody somewhere figured out which letters, it's the first letter of a last name. So if you did alphabetical, right, you'd M's and N's, you'd have tons of calls to make, and X and Y, you'd have no calls to make. This breaks it all up. So every week it's about 9% of your database.
Yeah.
That we should put out.
Right. And so that's a blueprint. If I gave you a blueprint to build something, that's what I'm talking about, the blueprint. And lest any of you get panicked by what this looks like, you should never really be making, even if you had an effective network. And by the way, we're talking about your A's and B's here, right? You should be making more than 5 contacts a day. So you don't have to worry that, oh my God, if I've got all these people, how am I going to possibly do that? And I'm already out there selling real estate. It's being able to peel off so that you give yourself, whether it's 3 contacts a day or 5 a day, it's going to be somewhere in there. If you run the plan 5 days a week, that's what we're talking about.
Right. It's consistency.
It's consistency, and you're running your business with intention.
Yes,
not reaction. You're intentionally going to
purposeful, consistent business plan.
That's what produces results. So don't not show up next week when we lay the blueprint out for you. And
the reason this is so important, we all see the market changing. Where it's going to go, how far it's going to go, we don't know.
No.
But anytime the market comes off of anybody who can breathe can find a deal because everything's crazy, to back to actually being professional real estate agents, that goes back to your core, back to your CRM, back to your SOI. That is the core of the business. And we need to make sure that thing is tight and running so you don't have to think about it.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about, just before we sign off here real quick, I put out a video on Friday for my team, and I don't have a doubt that we're probably in a recession or heading into one. How long it's going to last and how severe it is is really wonky right now because, the Labor Department puts out a release on Friday, 372,000 jobs. Interest rates are contracting. Gas prices are going down. Heck, they went down by another 10 cents at Costco. So, you've got these, press now and all the media talking about the oversupply of particular goods that are in the Targets and the Home Depots. And so there's big savings coming our way. And so you're going to have this urge for consumers to really continue to spend. And you've got this situation where jobs are being created. That's not going to help. That's not going to hurt housing prices, particularly when we've got inventory that is still at about a 1 to 2 month supply. So it's so confusing right now. And just like how unprecedented the pandemic response was, which none of us could have predicted that a global pandemic would put us into a situation where we'd see a 2-year run on real estate, the likes of which this industry has never seen before. We don't know what is coming for us as it relates to a pending recession or what that might look like. There are things happening that say not so fast, right? When you see 372,000 jobs created and you have the unemployment rates at 3.6% nationally, the economy, if it had a voice, would say, "Hey, not so fast." So
right.
let's
They're treating the wrong disease, but we got to save that.
Yeah, I just want to say that. So
right. Here's what I think is happening. I think you're going to have a very busy fall, and I think right now it's slowed down some, vacations and whatnot. This is the time to get your CRM action plan dialed in.
Yeah,
because you will not have time in the fall. That's what I'm betting on.